In marriage ends up being a business deal because at the end of a marriage, no matter how long or short it is, somebody owes somebody money.
Long before Goldie Hawn found her forever love with Kurt Russell, her life already looked like a Hollywood fairy tale, at least on the surface. She was married to musician Bill Hudson, raising kids, soaking in fame, and flashing that picture-perfect glow everyone envied. But behind closed doors, the shine cracked fast. One bold, no-turning-back request from Goldie flipped the entire marriage upside down, and Bill didn't argue. He walked, just like that. So what did she ask that made him say enough was enough? Let's rewind, way back, before the giggle, before the sunshine image, before America crowned her its bubbly sweetheart. Goldie Jean Hawn wasn't born into fame. She danced her way toward it. She grew up pirouetting through the quiet streets of Tacoma Park, Maryland. Born November 21, 1945, into a family layered with contrasts and quiet pressure. Her mother, Laura Steinhoff, ran both a dance school and a jewelry shop. Hustle and sparkle rolled into one. Grit met glam every single day in that house. Her father, Edward Rutledge Hawn, lived and breathed music. A band conductor with deep American roots, he carried history in his veins, a direct descendant of Edward Rutledge, the youngest signer of the Declaration of Independence. Goldie literally had legacy stamped into her bloodline, but she wasn't interested in living inside anyone else's shadow. She was carving her own lane early. Her background pulled from two worlds at once. Her father came from Presbyterian German and English roots, while her mother was Jewish, born to Hungarian immigrants. Goldie was raised Jewish, soaking in the culture, resilience, and identity that came with it. Later in life, she'd say religion wasn't about strict rules. It was about heart, heritage, and knowing who you are. But don't let the sunshine fool you. The Hawn household had pain buried deep. Goldie had a sister, Patty Hawn, who later became a Hollywood publicist, and a brother, Edward Jr., who died in infancy. That loss was quietly hidden from the girls. Grief locked away like a secret no one wanted to reopen. The sadness was real, but it stayed tucked beneath the smiles. Dance became Goldie's first real voice. She started ballet and tap at just 3 years old. By 10, she was already performing in the Nutcracker with Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo. No small feat for a suburban kid. She wasn't loud or flashy back then, more quiet, artsy, and focused. At Montgomery Blair High School, she studied by day and rehearsed by night, building discipline step by step. In 1964, she left American University, skipped the traditional path, and opened her own ballet school, teaching young girls balance and confidence, even while she was still figuring out her own footing. Every move was leading her somewhere bigger, whether she knew it yet or not. That same year, Goldie stepped onto the stage as Juliet in a production of Romeo and Juliet for the Virginia Shakespeare Festival, a wild twist for a woman clearly wired for comedy. But Goldie was never just one lane. She carried drama and humor, beauty and brains, all mixed together. And here's the thing, her big break wasn't mapped out or calculated. It almost never is in this business. She popped up in a production of Can-Can at the New York World's Fair and suddenly got pulled straight into the electric heartbeat of 1960s New York nightlife. The city was loud, fast, and alive, and Goldie fit right in. She became a go-go dancer, spinning and strutting in clubs from the Peppermint Box in New Jersey to gritty underground spots across the city. This wasn't about chasing fame. She was chasing rhythm, movement, and freedom. By 1966, Goldie packed her sequins, dreams, and nerve and headed west. California was calling. She landed a steady gig dancing at the Melodyland Theater across from Disneyland, performing in full-blown musical productions like Pal Joey and How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. She was technically just another chorus girl, but let's be real, she popped. That quirky spark and offbeat charm couldn't be hidden, no matter how crowded the stage. The California air worked on her like magic. She glowed in it. And then came television. In 1967, she landed a role on the short-lived sitcom Good Morning World, playing the stereotypical ditzy girlfriend of a radio DJ. Blonde hair, wide eyes, breathy delivery. The whole setup screamed cliché, but Goldie flipped it. She injected something rare and natural. Timing. She mastered the art of playing innocent while staying sharp. That soft voice, it sliced punchlines with precision. But everything changed when she joined Rowan and Martin's Laugh In. The show was chaos, loud, weird, fast, and addictive. And right in the middle of it all was Goldie, giggling, body painted, bouncing through sketches in a bikini, tossing one-liners like grenades. She played the dumb blonde flawlessly. Except she wasn't dumb at all. The joke always belonged to her. She knew exactly what she was doing, and America ate it up. Hollywood noticed fast, and the offers started flying. Her transition to film happened quickly. She had a blink-and-you-miss-it appearance in the one and only genuine original family band in 1968, credited as Goldie Jean. But the real moment, the one that changed everything, came with Cactus Flower. Cast as Walter Matthau's suicidal fiancé, Goldie didn't just hold her own. She stole the entire movie. She walked away with the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress just like that. No warm-up lap, no slow climb. Before turning 25, the girl who once danced through suburban studios was holding an Oscar. She followed it up with hits like There's a Girl in My Soup and Butterflies Are Free, proving this wasn't a fluke. Goldie wasn't a one-note performer. She turned light roles into real people, funny, fragile, and alive. Still breezy, still playful, but with depth underneath. She didn't just arrive in Hollywood, she twirled in with sparkles in her hair, a laugh in her throat, and steel in her spine. After the Oscar win, her film career exploded like a firework. Bright, unpredictable, impossible to ignore. She rode the momentum straight into a string of comedy hits, starting with There's a Girl in My Soup, playing opposite the effortlessly charming Peter Sellers. What could have been a throwaway love interest became a star-making performance. Then came Dollars, a quirky caper with Warren Beatty, where Goldie played a schoolteacher pulled into a bank heist. Cute? Yes. Clueless? Not at all. She balanced charm with street smarts, always letting the audience know she was in on the joke. In Butterflies Are Free, in 1972, she went deeper. Playing Jill, a free-spirited neighbor who befriends a blind man, Goldie showed emotional muscle behind the laughs. She wasn't just the giggle anymore. She had range, and she was ready to flex it. By the mid-70s, she pushed even further, stepping into heavier material with The Girl from Petrovka and the Sugarland Express. In the latter, she played a desperate mother fighting for custody of her child, raw, messy, and human. Goldie Hawn wasn't slowing down. She was leveling up fast. There was no body paint this time, no easy punchlines, no safety net, just raw emotion and real stakes. Goldie stripped everything back, and critics finally saw what had been hiding in plain sight. The performance earned her serious respect, not just applause. Then came Shampoo, Hal Ashby's sharp satirical dive into politics, sex, and power in 1970s Los Angeles. Surrounded by heavy hitters like Warren Beatty and Julie Christie, Goldie didn't fade into the background. She held her ground. Once again, she proved she had an instinct for projects that mixed glamour with bite. By this point, she was becoming Hollywood's wild card, unpredictable, risky, and oddly reliable at the same time. You never knew what she'd pick next, but she almost never missed. In the middle of that whirlwind decade, Goldie dipped back into television, headlining two specials, Pure Goldie and the Goldie Hawn Special. The second wasn't just a showcase, it was a statement. After stepping away from the spotlight for 2 full years to focus on her marriage and the birth of her son, Goldie came roaring back with full razzle-dazzle energy. She sang Broadway standards. She danced. She traded jokes with George Burns, Sean Cassidy, John Ritter at the height of Three's Company, and even the Harlem Globetrotters. It was bold, strange, and completely unapologetic. The gamble paid off. The special earned a Primetime Emmy nomination, and just 4 months later, her big screen comeback hit hard. Enter Foul Play, a Hitchcock-style comedy thriller opposite Chevy Chase. Goldie played Gloria Mundy, a sweet librarian who accidentally tumbles into an assassination plot in San Francisco. The movie exploded at the box office. Audiences loved her. She was funny, nervous, fearless, and warm, all at once. Just when people thought they had her boxed in, she proved she could carry a movie and sell tickets on her name alone. Less talked about, but just as revealing, was Goldie's brief detour into music. In 1972, she released a country-tinged solo album called Goldie, with help from Dolly Parton and Buck Owens. It wasn't trying to reinvent anything, and that was the point. Sweet, sincere, and slightly offbeat. Critics called it charming, and fans saw it for what it was, another example of Goldie refusing to stay in one lane. The 1980s kicked off with pure flair. She teamed up with Liza Minnelli for the TV special Goldie and Liza, a glitter-soaked variety hour that snagged 4 Emmy nominations. These weren't throwaway specials. They were Goldie reclaiming her image on her terms, through music, movement, and controlled chaos. From there, her career zigzagged boldly. The action comedy Bird on a Wire, co-starring Mel Gibson, got roasted by critics, but audiences showed up anyway. Money talked. Then came a stretch of early 90s roles that swung wide, from tense and paranoid and deceived, to soulful and crisscross, to full-blown camp icon status in Death Becomes Her. Goldie wasn't fading. She was shape-shifting, and she was doing it loudly, confidently, and completely on her own terms. Goldie went head-to-head with Meryl Streep and Bruce Willis in Death Becomes Her, a glossy black comedy obsessed with vanity, immortality, and revenge. Flaming red hair, razor-sharp timing, and zero fear, Goldie went full camp, and audiences loved every over-the-top second of it. Just when it looked like her career was unstoppable, she vanished from screens for nearly 4 years. This wasn't burnout, scandal, or some Hollywood meltdown. It was loyalty. Goldie stepped away because her mother was battling cancer, and she chose family over fame. No debate. In an industry where aging is treated like a curse and disappearing is considered career suicide, her decision shocked people. Walking away wasn't weakness. It was defiance. When she returned, it wasn't in front of the camera. It was behind it. In 1995, Goldie became a producer, backing Something to Talk About, a sharp romantic drama starring Julia Roberts and Dennis Quaid. It showed she wasn't just thinking about roles, she was shaping stories. Then she pushed even further. In 1997, Goldie made her directorial debut with a poignant TV film starring Christine Lottie and Gina Malone. No fluff, no gimmicks, just proof she had vision beyond acting. But staying away from the spotlight was never going to last long. Enter the First Wives Club. Goldie teamed up with Bette Midler and Diane Keaton in what became a full-blown box office juggernaut and cultural moment. As Elise Elliott, a washed-up, boozy actress clinging to youth, Goldie was fearless, funny, tragic, and cutting all at once. The trio famously belted out "You Don't Own Me," turning a 1963 feminist anthem into a cinematic mic drop. And just when you thought she might retire the vocals, she surprised everyone again. In 1998, Goldie covered "A Hard Day's Night" on In My Life, produced by Beatles legend George Martin, the former go-go dancer from Jersey bars now riffing on Beatles classics. Because why not? By the end of the 90s, Goldie had shattered the idea that she was just a giggle or a gimmick. She was a producer, a director, a hitmaker, and a survivor in an industry obsessed with reinvention. And somehow, she pulled off the hardest trick of all. She stayed Goldie. But behind that laugh and glowing screen presence, her personal life told an even messier story. Highs, heartbreaks, and tabloid chaos followed her every move. Long before Oscar nights and magazine covers, Goldie's heart belonged to someone else. Gus Triconis, a triple-threat dancer, actor, and rising director whose own star once burned bright. Gus Triconis wasn't some background player. He came with real heat of his own. He played Indio, one of the sharks in West Side Story, a role etched into Hollywood history. He shared dance floors with legends like Debbie Reynolds in the unsinkable Molly Brown, and even moved side by side with Elvis Presley during the iconic Elvis NBC Comeback Special. That moment alone locked him into rock and roll lore forever. Goldie and Gus didn't just share chemistry, they shared a birthday, November 21st. Same day, same spark, same cosmic timing. They started dating in 1966, long before Goldie became America's Golden Girl. Back then, Gus's resume dwarfed hers. He was the established performer, while Goldie was still a giggling dancer bouncing between auditions and variety shows, chasing momentum. But by the time they married in 1969, the ground shifted fast. Cactus Flower hit theaters that same year and blew Goldie into the stratosphere. An Academy Award followed, and suddenly everything changed. While Goldie was redefining screen comedy and walking red carpets, Gus was struggling to find solid footing behind the camera. That imbalance started eating away at the marriage. Fame pulled one up while pushing the other down. By 1973, they quietly separated. Years later, Goldie admitted she was emotionally empty. Her bucket drained dry. She described wanting peace, reflection, and stillness, a confession that spoke volumes without throwing blame. Her career was exploding, while Gus found himself stuck in her shadow, a dynamic that would echo through several of Goldie's later relationships. Still, they didn't rush into divorce. Neither wanted to remarry or reopen old wounds. That fragile pause held until fate stepped in at 30,000 feet. Enter Bill Hudson of the Hudson Brothers. Boy next door charm, musical ambition, and perfect rom-com timing. The two met by pure chance on a plane in the summer of 1975, and sparks flew instantly. What followed was a full-speed whirlwind. The romance accelerated fast. No brakes, no hesitation. By New Year's Eve of that same year, Goldie filed for divorce from Gus and got engaged to Bill the very same day. A plot twist so dramatic it barely felt real. But Gus didn't exit quietly. Under California community property law, he demanded $75,000 from Goldie. The request stung, especially since Goldie felt he had never financially supported her. Still, she didn't dodge the emotional truth. She admitted that being married to someone whose career was soaring made it hard for Gus to build confidence. Honest, painful, and real. That one statement captured the fragile core of their love, one rising fast, the other losing balance. After the settlement, Goldie married Bill Hudson in July 1976, just 1 month after the divorce became official. The marriage produced 2 children who would later become stars themselves, Oliver Hudson and Kate Hudson. A new chapter had begun, but the emotional scars from the last one were far from healed. Marital bliss didn't last long. Bill Hudson, overwhelmed by Goldie's skyrocketing fame, fell into the same pressure trap Gus once did. The imbalance crept in, resentment followed, and the cracks widened fast. By 1982, Bill filed for divorce, and just like that, another Hollywood marriage collapsed. But that ending opened the door to something entirely different, something stronger. That same year, Goldie met Kurt Russell while filming Swing Shift. What followed wasn't sealed with wedding vows or flashy headlines. Instead, it became one of the most enduring partnerships Hollywood has ever seen. Decades together, 0 rings, and absolutely no rush to prove anything to anyone. Quiet, loyal, and shockingly stable. Meanwhile, Gus Triconis finally stepped out of Goldie's long shadow. He never became a blockbuster director, but he carved out a steady lane directing cult B-movies and episodes of hit TV shows like Baywatch, Quantum Leap, and Beauty and the Beast. No red carpets, just consistent work and creative peace. He also found lasting love with costume designer Barbara Andrews. They married in 1978, welcomed a son in 1981, and stayed together until her passing in 2012. In the end, Gus got something far rarer than fame: stability. Goldie's love life reads like a study in ambition, misalignment, and reinvention. Her early marriages couldn't survive the glare of superstardom, but they shaped her deeply. Each chapter hardened her resolve, sharpened her instincts, and taught her never to shrink herself for anyone again. So, who exactly was Bill Hudson, the man caught in Goldie's orbit? Bill's life played out like a messy Hollywood script full of highs, heartbreaks, and slow unraveling. Born in Portland, Oregon, he was the eldest of 3 boys raised in a tough Catholic household by a single mother. His father, William Lewis Hudson, walked out when Bill was around 6, leaving behind a story so cliché it almost hurts: a trip for cigarettes, and never came back. What followed was a childhood shaped by welfare offices, tight budgets, and grit. His Italian-American mother, Eleanor Salerno, raised Bill and his brothers Brett and Mark with pure determination. The trio later formed the Hudson Brothers, a pop-rock band with enough charisma and polyester flair to light up the 1970s for a brief moment. They scored a few hits, hosted a variety TV show, and became teen idols almost overnight. Bill, the frontman with movie star looks and a toothy grin, clearly stood out. But beneath the shine was a man still chasing validation, still wrestling with abandonment. In his bachelor years, Bill drifted through the swinging 70s like a walking magazine spread. He dated big names: America's sweetheart Karen Carpenter, TV icon Loretta Swit, and Bond girl Jill St. John. Flashy romances, fast attention, zero grounding. Then came 1975, and a chance meeting on a commercial flight. That's where he met Goldie Hawn. She was glowing, magnetic, fresh off an Oscar win. Everything Bill wasn't, but desperately wanted to be near. The chemistry hit instantly. Sparks flew hard. Within months, they were engaged. For a moment, it looked like Bill had won the ultimate Hollywood jackpot: a superstar wife, instant relevance, and a picture-perfect family. But fame has a way of exposing fault lines. Goldie's star kept soaring while Bill felt smaller by the day. The imbalance ate away at him until the marriage finally collapsed. Their divorce was finalized in 1982, the same year Bill remarried Cindy Williams from Laverne and Shirley. That marriage brought 2 children and a quieter life, but even that chapter couldn't hold. By 2000, it ended in divorce too, another relationship undone by pressure, identity, and unresolved ghosts. In the end, Goldie didn't just survive Hollywood, she outgrew it. She learned who she was, what she wouldn't sacrifice, and why real love doesn't need applause. Bill later fathered another daughter, Leah, in 2006 with girlfriend Caroline Graham. But the most explosive chapter of his life wasn't romantic at all. It was parental. For decades, Oliver Hudson and Kate Hudson weren't raised by Bill. They were raised by Goldie Hawn and her longtime partner Kurt Russell, who the kids lovingly called Pa. From the outside, it looked like a dream. A tight-knit, blended Hollywood family glowing with laughter on red carpets and later across Instagram. Goldie, Kurt, and the kids felt solid, united. Bill, meanwhile, slowly faded into absence, unmentioned, a ghost hovering outside family photos and public memory. Then came Father's Day, 2015, and everything cracked wide open. Oliver Hudson dropped a blunt Instagram caption that read, "Happy Abandonment Day." No filter, no cushion, just years of pain dumped straight into the public eye, It hit hard, for fans, for Bill, for everyone watching. Bill stayed quiet for a long time, until he finally snapped back. In later interviews, he accused Goldie of intentionally pushing him out of his children's lives. He claimed she poisoned their perception of him and erased his role, even as he insisted he tried to stay involved behind the scenes. Whether that's the full truth or not, it exposed a deep family wound most people never knew existed. In 2011, Bill tried to reclaim his voice with a memoir titled Two Versions: The Other Side of Fame and Family. The title alone said everything. He painted himself as misunderstood, sidelined, and deeply hurt. Critics called it defensive, but for Bill, it felt like survival, a chance to finally speak after years of silence. By 2018, there was a small but meaningful shift. Oliver revealed that he and Bill had started talking again, not a full reunion, but after decades of distance, even that felt massive. Bill Hudson's life isn't neat or cinematic, it's jagged, complicated, marked by fast-burning love, broken family ties, and fame that always hovered just out of reach. But it's also painfully human, a man shaped by abandonment, chasing meaning, making mistakes, and maybe, slowly, trying to repair what broke. So what really caused Goldie Hawn and Bill Hudson to fall apart? Goldie has long been framed as Hollywood's free spirit icon, proof that love doesn't need a marriage certificate. Her decades-long partnership with Kurt Russell is treated like a unicorn romance. But beneath the giggle and glow is a far messier truth. Broken vows, bitter exes, estranged children. When you trace her history back to Gus Triconis and Bill Hudson, the fairy tale turns into raw, unscripted drama. Before Kurt ever entered the picture, Goldie was married to Gus Triconis. It was the late 60s and Goldie was exploding into superstardom. Fresh off her Oscar win, she was everywhere. Gus, meanwhile, remained out of the spotlight. Accounts suggest the fame gap became unbearable. He reportedly felt she drifted into a world he no longer belonged in. That marriage didn't end with fireworks, it ended with quiet disappointment. The next one was anything but quiet. Bill later said he felt like the luckiest man alive on his wedding day, until it all shifted instantly. He claimed that right after the ceremony, Goldie leaned over and asked, "Are you sure we did the right thing?" He described that moment as the first crack, the one the marriage never recovered from. Bill alleged Goldie suggested an open marriage, something he said he tried to accept, until it became clear the balance wasn't equal. He accused her of infidelity and emotional distance, and even claimed her own father once warned him that she needed a different man for each of her moods. Brutal words that still divide opinion today. Two perspectives, one collapse, a story that still sparks debate decades later. What's clear is this: Goldie didn't just choose love differently. She chose autonomy, stability, a life where she refused to shrink herself for anyone. And that choice changed everything. Goldie has never been shy about controversy either, especially when it comes to relationships. In 2005, she shocked audiences on The View by openly defending men who stray from monogamy. She argued it was biological, not moral, and said pretending otherwise only leads to heartbreak. She even admitted she never asked Kurt Russell about fidelity. "I just don't ask," she said. "It keeps me happy." The reaction was explosive, but Goldie didn't back down. Her honesty made people uncomfortable, and that's exactly why it stuck. Her bluntness didn't stop there. She's also spoken openly about darker chapters of her life, including harassment she endured as a young dancer in New York. She credited her strength to knowing who she was and refusing to compromise herself, even if it cost her work. Then came the 2025 Academy Awards and another unfiltered moment. While presenting alongside Andrew Garfield, Goldie admitted on live TV that she couldn't see the teleprompter due to cataracts. the moment went viral. Backstage, sources said she was embarrassed that her condition overshadowed the night. But something unexpected happened next. Andrew shared how much Goldie meant to his late mother, how she made her laugh during dark times. Goldie broke down in tears. No jokes, no defenses, just raw emotion. So now the question is yours. Do you think Goldie Hawn's views on marriage and freedom were the real reason her relationship with Bill Hudson collapsed? Or were the cracks already there? Ego, fame, pressure, and imbalance. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives. Click the next video on your screen. You won't want to miss it. See you on the next one.